Unconscious masculinity, my experience. What is unconscious in this context? Unconscious, when I say unconscious, I'm talking about unawareness. Okay? So you might resonate with this. If you're listening or watching, you might have gone through a period of unawareness of yourself, especially during your teenage years, right after your teenage years, your early 20s, like I have. Um, so when I'm referring to myself as a young man, I'm referring to my early 20s and from my late teens, so 18 to 20 years old. Right now, I'm in my mid third. I'm going on to my mid 30s. Let's just say that. Um, so there was a lot that I went through in my 20s that made me build up my awareness when it comes to my masculinity. One thing that I was doing um, unconsciously as a young man was fighting, being a rebel, right? Being a rebel, in this context, fighting against the world, fighting against people that I felt that lied to me about myself, right? And when I say lied to me about myself, I I relied on other people to tell me who I was until I realized that's not who I was. And so I resented them for it. So I fought against authority in my own way, right? At the time, I thought that was a masculine thing to do, a manly thing to do, I should say, a manly thing to do. And you probably went through that. If you're much older now, you're probably going through that phase right now where it's only natural that you want your independence and you're figuring it out yourself in the world, right? At this point, you've been cocooned. You have an unawareness of what the world is. You've been programmed to see the world in a certain way, and now you're understanding. At that age you're understanding that the world isn't what it seems. So you feel like you've been lied to or deceived, and your natural reaction to it, right? Reaction to it instead of response is to be a rebellion, right? To be a rebel, to fight against the world, to go against the world, to go against the system, right? To prove that you're someone different, right? To prove that you're someone who is worthy of respect, right? So that's what I was doing during my early years, 18 to 25. I didn't know who I was because I relied on other people to tell me who I was, and that caused resentment between me and other people that were telling me who I was. And I thought, and I believed it until a certain point. Another thing I was doing was chasing, right? I was chasing a lot of things, right? Again, I'm talking about unconscious masculinity here, right? Masculinity is all about action, right? It's all about action, but when it's unconscious, it chases without direction. It chases without a container, right? It's like a headless chicken. Sorry about the the analogy, but that's the best I could come up with. It's like a headless, you become like a headless chicken chasing things that you believe are true, right? Again, your whole life up to that point, you accepted what people fed you, what people told you that was true about you and about the world, right? So I was fighting against that. I was fighting against that because I hold resentment towards the world, and also I was chasing what the world was telling me that was true at the same time. So I was going through confusion. I didn't know who I was. So I was chasing validation. I was chasing the validation from the world. I was chasing validation from my parents. I was chasing validation from my friends. I was doing things that I didn't really want to do, but I thought that that would give me the validation that I needed. I thought that was a valuable exchange. But what I only did was expend energy, valuable youthful energy that I didn't need to expend. I was chasing validation through chasing money, going to school, right? Doing jobs that I didn't really need to do, only to blow the money on things that I didn't really need. I went to post secondary school, university. I went to college just to chase the validation of my family, of my parents. I was chasing I was chasing women. I was chasing I was chasing love, right? I was chasing the validations from the opposite sex, right? I was chasing I was chasing that. And even as I sit here, I don't even know why I was chasing that. But it was a good experience, and I realized that it was a learning experience for me. Another thing too was that I wanted to I wanted to express a physically strong persona, meaning I wanted to show that I was strong, show to others that I was strong, right? Masculine energy is all about it's all about the external, right? Expressing your energy externally. But when it's unconscious, it manifests in weird ways that you at some point regret and learn from and understand it's just an experience. But yes, I wanted to express myself as a strong, physically strong. I wanted to express myself as someone who was strong. I wanted to prove that I was strong. So when I needed to give up a fight, I didn't give up a fight. I used to go to the gym not to be fit, but to look a certain way. I used to drink protein shakes just to make myself look bigger. I'm a small guy, right? People would describe me as small. I don't feel that way. I've always been short. Um, I'm like 5'7" on a good day, and And I always thought I was skinny, right? I always thought I was skinny, right? I looked around other people and they were, I looked around and other men, other young men were going through what I'm going through. And I used to think they weren't because they looked a certain way. And I wanted to look like that. I wanted to look the part. I wanted to look strong. They look strong, but only on the surface. So I wanted to do that. So I used to go to the gym and overextend myself, right? Another trap that you would fall into, and went through this phase. What I went through this phase also was, um, I used to watch like YouTube videos, like you know the videos I'm talking about, like where they're saying like, oh, men aren't the way they used to be, and I used to feel ashamed about that because I I thought that I had this insecurity about myself that I need to become more manly. So I fell into the trap of watching these videos of teaching me how to be a man, not knowing all those things were just an um, unconscious masculine traits: chasing money, chasing how to get women, right? Looking a certain way, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I still go to the gym, but for a different purpose, not the same purpose as I do before, right? It's less about looks now. Before it was just strictly for the look and to be strong, right? But strong in a different sense, to prove my worth of being the definition of a man that the world gives you, right? So I used to watch these YouTube videos, and I used to believe you have to be rich to be manly. You have to own these cars to be manly. You have to do these things to be manly. You have to get these women to be manly. You have to be dominant to be manly. I used to believe all those things, right? But now I have the awareness because I went through that experience during my early 20s. Learning through that experience during my early 20s birthed this awareness in me, right? Now that I'm more aware that that's a version of an unconscious masculine energy, right? Thank you for watching this video.